U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. So, Elie, a couple points here. First, Trump's lawsuit. You've gone through it. So does it have a chance of succeeding?
Aaron, I think this is a long shot for Donald Trump. He raises three primary arguments. The first one is that this is just intended to harass or annoy Donald Trump. That's really just name calling. There's no law behind that. This committee obviously is investigating for a very specific purpose. The second argument is that the committee lacks what we call a legitimate legislative purpose, meaning the argument from Donald Trump is, well, they're not trying to pass laws here. First of all, it's not clear that they have to have that purpose. They have a certain right in Congress to investigate. Second of all, they may well suggest new laws. The 9/11 Commission did just that when they investigated. And then finally, there's this executive privilege argument. Now, Trump says, as a former president, he has a right to assert executive privilege. He's actually right. There is some law saying he does have some ability. But what he leaves out of his papers is the fact that it's fairly clear in our law that if there's disagreement, the current president prevails.
And that obviously would be the precedent for where we are. So now to the point that Ryan made about the timing here and the fight over at the House subpoena for former White House lawyer Don McGahn. Let me just give that as an example, right? During the impeachment trial, it took 2 years to litigate. OK, that's then ancient history. This committee may not have 2 years, right? I mean, as Ryan was pointing out, right, there's the perception that it needs to be done by the midterms. Maybe Democrats win and they can continue, right? But it's going to be a bit chaotic and they could lose, right? And then it's all over. Republicans end the investigation. So how long could all of this take to litigate?
So 2 years is absolutely inexcusable. And I hope that Congress and the courts alike learn their lesson from the Don McGahn debacle. Let me sort of break this down. The committee, as Ryan said, there's nothing surprising in this brief. The committee should already have its brief 3/4 done. They're going to get a deadline soon. They should be ready to file their brief on Friday. I mean, this week. And then they need to stress to the federal district court, you must expedite this. This is not an ordinary dispute. This is a time-sensitive dispute. We need a ruling from you soon. There's no reason the district court, the trial court, can't rule on this within a few weeks. Whoever loses is then going to take the case to the Court of Appeals. You have a right to do that. They can move as quickly as the judges want, as quickly as a month. Could take as long as I've seen these things take 6 months and up. There's no excuse for that. And then whoever loses there is going to try to get it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Again, they can move as quickly as the justices are willing to. If the Supreme Court takes it, of course, that extends the deadline. But if they don't, then the Court of Appeals ruling will stand. So this could be as quick as a month or two, could be as long as 6 months or more.
I mean, it is pretty incredible when you think about it. But all that is the crucial timeline. So let me ask you also about Bannon, right? The vote tomorrow about referring him to the Justice Department for criminal contempt charges. So, right, they're going to go ahead, I'm going to assume, and go ahead and do that. What is the likelihood, though, that the committee, when all of this is said and done, ever hears from Steve Bannon?
Yeah, so ultimately the decision about whether to charge this criminally will be Merrick Garland's. One important thing to note, even if they do bring a criminal charge against Steve Bannon and he's convicted, his punishment is he goes to prison. It doesn't force him to testify. The idea is that most people will then choose to testify if forced with this leverage. But ultimately, this is going to be a defining moment for Merrick Garland. There's political pressure on him. The committee is publicly applying pressure to him. The president of the United States said he wants to see this charged. DOJ pushed back and said, we're going to make this decision independently. However, if Merrick Garland takes on this fight, and he should, it's going to be a tough fight. But sometimes, as a prosecutor, that's what you have to do. But if he does not, if he says, I'm not charging this, he will kneecap this January 6th committee. He will essentially prevent them from compelling testimony from Meadows and Scavino and Patel. So this is a huge decision.
All right. Thank you very much, Elie. So, tonight we did hear from Donald Trump.